Welcome to Again Faster. Samantha and I are going to take you through the kettlebell swing and its variations. But before we do, I'd like to thank Jeff Martone of Tactical Athlete for giving me most of this knowledge, for teaching it to me in the CrossFit kettlebell certification environment. Most likely you've only seen the two-handed swing performed above the head level. We're going to show you the Russian swing. We're also going to show you something very interesting called a power swing, which is used to develop explosive action in the hips, getting that rapid extension, something that transfers to box jumping, to vertical jumping, and even to broad jumping. And finally, we're going to take you through and show you how to swing this thing safely one-handed. So Sam, let's start with the traditional CrossFit two-handed swing. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and just straddle the bell. And before Sam even picks it up, the proper way to pick up a bell is going to be in your deadlift stance. So Sam's going to keep her back flat, her weight on her heels, and she's going to press her hips back with her hands on the bell. You'll notice that she's not in a tremendously squatty stance. Her hip is actually above her knee, the crease of her hip, and as she stands, she's going to keep her back tight. To initiate the swing, all she's going to do is push her hips through the bell once, just give it a little tap and come back. And we'll notice that in the bottom, Sam's essentially in a vertical jump stance. She is not squatting. Go ahead, Sam, and put that down same way you picked it up, nice and safe. Okay? And let's mimic the bottom of a swing without the bell for me. Just take your stance like you're about to swing the kettlebell. So you'll notice that first Sam made contact here. She has contact between her forearms and her thighs, and she's in essentially the same hip position that she would be if she was going to jump straight up as high as she could. This position is very mechanically advantageous. She just has a little angle here to push through to get momentum on that bell. Okay? Sam, let's show them the incorrect way to do this. I see this all the time, people just going into the rock bottom of a squat and trying to swing from there. And again, if she has her hands back here, she's going to have to overcome this entire angle just to stand up and drive that bell. Very mechanically unadvantageous. So Sam, let's go ahead and swing again. And we're going to do that traditional CrossFit two-handed swing. You'll also hear this referred to as the American swing. One of the important things to notice here is that all of the power here is hip-driven. The bell, when it's over Sam's head, okay, the bottom of the bell is pointing at the sky. Go ahead and relax, Sam. This is contrasted to her hands being above the bell, essentially in this pulling motion, keeping the bell down. It's indicative of a couple things. It's indicative of not getting enough power from the hips, okay, and also of pulling with the shoulders. Sam, do you think you can demonstrate that incorrectly? Okay, go ahead. So as Sam swings, as it gets about eye level, she starts to pull with the shoulders, and we see this. Okay, we see those hands come over the bell. We'll see this a lot with a heavier bell, and what I'd counsel you to do is when the bell gets really heavy, rather than try and swing it all the way up over the head, pulling the hands high like that, giving some of that load to the shoulders, what I'd like you to do is actually swing it lower and not to sweat that fact. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you the Russian swing. And we'll stick with this one-pood bell for now, Sam. We're going to go up in weight later to kind of show them that it's okay to not put that thing above your head all the time. But what I'd like you to do now is a Russian swing. And really the only difference here between the American version, full overhead, and the Russian swing is that Sam's only going to bring that to about face level. With any given weight, this is a more casual swing. You can see that it's kind of soft style, that she's not pushing through it tremendously hard. But this will give us a bridge to that power swing, something that's really cool and is going to help you to develop that explosive hip power. Go ahead and relax. Okay? Again, we'll see that she's essentially in a deadlift stance. She's rooted through the heels the entire time. She's driving her hip through her arms, and we're bringing that up to about face level. Now, she's modulating her hip power to determine how high that bell goes. If she was to just execute with full power every time at this weight, that bell would of course go over her head. How we add a power element to this is instead of allowing the bell to come up and then gravity to take it back down, the athlete's actually going to rip it back down. And Sam, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you do a Russian swing, and on the third swing, I'm going to put my hand on top of the bell and I'm just going to push it down. Okay? You're going to feel it accelerate as you go down. Her job is going to be not to stop it, but to bring it all the way through to the bottom of that swing. And I just want you to start by feeling that acceleration. So go ahead. Again, starting in that deadlift stance. 1, 2, and 3, and I'm pushing that thing down, and relax. And essentially what we're getting from me pushing down is a plyometric effect. When Sam gets to the bottom, her hamstring lengthens out. The rapid movement of that coming down is stretching her muscles, and of course all they want to do at that point is contract and go back the other way. She's getting that plyometric depth jump effect, but she's getting it from a kettlebell. Now Sam, if I wasn't here, what you would simply do is swing to that Russian height, but then you're going to rip that bell down as fast as you can. Okay, so go ahead and pick it up. I'd like you to give me 5 swings, and we're going to power swing. So the first 2, just get comfortable with your height. Okay, on the second 5, let's go 1, 2, and on this one, rip it down. Pull it down. Good. Pull it down. Pull it down. Pull it down. And relax. Okay? It's a whole different story, right? Yeah. What Sam's feeling now, and I know because I've done this myself, is the grip is tremendous. The demand on your ability to hold on to that bell, but also to turn it around, is going to develop a ton of power in that posterior chain. A very cool exercise, and one that's no doubt going to increase your vertical jump. Now, with the power swing, you're actually going to find that the lighter the weight you use, the more of an effect you're going to get from this. That's simply because with a 1 pood, with a 3/4 pood, with a lighter bell, you're going to be able to accelerate it. Where with maybe with a 1.5, a 2 pood bell, achieving any acceleration beyond that provided by gravity is simply going to be beyond your strength. So if you want to try this power swing, go ahead and use a lighter bell and work your way up slowly doing that. Now, Sam, let's talk about the one-handed swing. It would be easy to just reach down, grab that bell, and start swinging it with one hand. What we want to do primarily to switch from that two-handed swing to a one-handed swing is move the grip. So rather than being symmetrical, having your hand in the middle of that bell, and Sam, when you pick that up, I don't want you to stand behind it, okay? I want you to stand right over the top of it. There you go, so you're straddling that bell. Let's say that she's going to do a one-handed swing with her right arm. So what Sam will do is reach across the bell, and essentially, in the athlete's left, she's going to grab the corner of that bell. Okay? Go ahead and now she picks up her chest and deadlifts it just like she would that normal kettlebell. You'll notice it's resting on her thigh. All she's going to do to initiate the swing is give it a little pop with the hip and bring it right between her legs. Go ahead and pop that. Good. One more, Sam, and recover when you're ready. You'll notice, if you try this, that having your hand across like that is very awkward when you bring it between your legs. And for that reason, Sam, when you bring it between your legs, and you did this naturally, she's actually going to take her hand and she's going to turn it thumbs down so that that thumb is traveling in between her legs. It's going to give her more control over that bell. Simultaneously, or I'm sorry, subsequently, when she boosts her hip through and brings that bell up in front of her, that thumb's going to be pointed upward at about a 45-degree angle. Again, given her grip on that bell, it's going to allow her to maintain control. Sam, go ahead. She drives, that thumb comes up, it comes down, the thumb travels inward. So there's a slight rotation of the bell throughout the one-handed swing. Okay, and relax. And you'll notice that we're not trying to go overhead here. Very hard to control a one-handed swing up above head level. So we can do a power variation on this if we wanted. We can do the other hand, and of course if Sam wants to do this left-handed, all she has to do is grab across to the right corner, pick her chest up as she deadlifts, and as she boosts it off her thigh, the thumb travels in and back up to that 45-degree angle. Nice, Sam. Go ahead and relax. So, when we get to a heavier bell, what I want you to realize is you don't always need to try and boost that above your head. We've got the power variation, we've got one-handed variations, and when we get to something very heavy, and we're actually going to go to twice this weight now, Sam, we're going to go to the 2-pood kettlebell. Sam can get this over her head, but it's going to be ugly. We're going to see some of the errors that we've warned you against, that pulling with the shoulders, the handle being higher than the bell, simply because she can't generate the hip power necessary to get it up that high with the bottom of the bell pointed up. So this is about a 70-pound bell, a little bit more, 32 kilograms. And Sam, let's start with the two-handed swing. Now the fundamentals are going to become much more clear when the bell gets heavier. Clearly you have to deadlift it safely. You're not going to do it with a squat because it's going to be punished. It's going to be harder to do. So go ahead and straddle that, Sam. She picks it up with that safe deadlift. And I'd like you to try and give me 3 swings. And we'll notice we're going to have an escalating arc here. The first one's not going to be terribly high, and she's going to get it higher. But on par, what we want is the bottom of that bell always up. Okay, always away from the athlete, as extreme as it can be. Now, something worth commenting on here, that bell is going to pull your arms straight, yes? Okay, Sam still has a nice relaxed grip. We want that power to come from the hips, not the arms. So those arms are essentially hooks, nice and long. Good job with that. Do you want to try and swing that with one hand?
Sure.
All right. This is just fooling around, but this is tremendous for grip strength, for building your ability to hold on to something heavy. We're going to follow those same fundamentals, Sam, except I'd like you to straddle it a little closer to your middle. There you go. Now go ahead and reach down. Same idea, Sam. We're going to bring it up, deadlift it up. Good. Thumb in, thumb out. Thumb in, thumb out. Thumb in, thumb out. Thumb in, and hard to hold on to, yes? But we're following the exact same movement patterns no matter what that weight goes to. We're worried about maximal hip extension, not height.